Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and another edition of our online TV interview series. We want to talk, for the first time today to for us a new company. It's a Silver Elephant, and with me here is Joaquin Merino, the Vice President, South American Operations in Bolivia. Welcome and hello, Joaquin. How are you?
Thank you very much. Yeah, very well. Thanks.
Super, fantastic. As you are on the same time zone as we are, that's fantastic. You are now based in Sevilla at home. We want to go through your presentation, of course, and want to see what is your company about. Please, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much. Well, as you said, I'm VP Operation for the company in Silver Elephant, and we started the company acquiring Pulacayo in 2015. Soon after, we have added El Triunfo this July and Sunawayo in September. So between the three projects, we collectively control 115 square kilometers. Bolivia, all of them are located in Bolivia, which we all probably know. It's a silver elephant country. The biggest silver mine there is Sumitomo, San Cristobal, which is the world's second largest active open pit silver mine today. It is also known Bolivia for the Cerro Rico Potosí mine, with a couple billion ounces of historical silver production, and still with 1 billion ounces in silver resource. So because we believe in silver, that's why we think that still a lot of more ounces to be found in this country. Next slide, I show you the location of our three projects, El Triunfo, Sunawayo, and Pulacayo. Our most recent acquisition is Sunawayo. It is a patented land. We have been acquired by the company from a private party. The project is actually north of the Malkucota project, which has about 350 million ounces of silver, part of the historical resources, which was explored back in 2008, 2010. Malkucota these days is administered by Comibol, the national mining company. And what we have done is we put an application for this project in January 2020. Well, as long as our application is there, we have the chance to also to get this other project into our portfolio.
Joaquin, I have a question already. As you are working in Bolivia, and also this old project had, let's face it, a little bit some trouble in the past, as it was taken by the government. So how is working these days in Bolivia? How is, let's say, the mining jurisdiction in the saying like mining standards, ethical, and also from the jurisdiction side, from the legal side?
Well, we have the political situation is relatively peaceful, and we are having an election now on the 18th. And well, after more than a decade of Morales, which is was the leader of the Socialist Party there in the country, well, it has been possible to work there. And the caretaker government these days is hoping to change this situation for the future. And there's no probably a winner in the first round, so it will be a second round probably. Will take care in November, and it's probably that the other parties will ally, and chances that they want to win the election are quite high. And as I said, we hope that we'll see a change in the politics in Bolivia after the election.
Okay. Yeah, so please
go ahead. Yeah, so I was saying here, this is the Malkucota project, the one you are looking here. It was really, as I said, between 2007 and 2010, with more than 42,000 meters of diamond drilling. And as a result of this, they discovered two deposits, which together contain 350 million ounces of silver. The mineralization is also associated to two sandstone units, which are forming a northwest trend that can be followed by several kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
So in addition to those 350 million ounces of silver, Macucota also hosts 4,000 tons of indium and gallium and 1.3 billion pounds of lead and zinc. When they did the preliminary economic assessment back in 2011 at a price of $25, based on a production of 10.5 million ounces of silver per year, and with a cost of $13.9 per ounce, the initial capex of that preliminary economic assessment was $411 million, with an annual cash flow of 208 million.
Mm-hmm. Do you have, from those historic drillings and this historic resource, do you have all the data, meaning also do you have all the drill core?
Well, we do know that the data exists and the drill core as well. Thing is, in order to access that data, we need to be be nominated as the title owner of the property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Great.
So Macucota, as I mentioned before, also has a gallium and indium content. So these two elements are used in touch screens, flat screens, and solar panels, which they are they have a lot of demand these days. So most of the production for these metals comes from Asia, and the market price for both elements is about $10 an ounce. So Macucota, with just the indium production of Macucota, it will cover 10% of the world's demand for this element.
Yeah, and this is absolutely in high demand, that's for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So in this slide, you will see a cross-section of the Macucota, where you can see how the mineralization is hosted by these two sandstone units, the Macucota and Wara units, and both start from surface to at least 500 meters deep. Sunawayo and Macucota they are actually part of the same deposit, and they are inseparable. They continue going to the northwest direction for several tens of kilometers. So the 350 million ounces of silver Macucota are only at 200 meters distance from the Sunawayo border. They also believe that outside of the deposit there is no drilling in this Sunawayo property, the one that we just acquired, and therefore most of the potential remain underexplored. Mm-hmm. It's a great opportunity for us. We have the Macucota model, which will be extended into Sunawayo, and if everything goes as we plan, we will also acquire Macucota project sometime early next year. Mm-hmm. So right now we have 3 priority targets, because in Sunawayo obviously we have all the permits and everything in order, so we can start exploring Sunawayo as soon as the pandemic situation allows for that. So we have 3 identified targets. One is near the Macucota-Sunawayo border. The other one is in the north part of the property, where a little 100 ton per day mine, and with running grades of 10% lead, a couple hundred grams of silver, is actually operating. And also we have identified several zones between these two, where mineralized breccias and abundant artisanal workings have been already identified by our exploration team. So as I said before, these explorations have never been drilled in the past.
Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of untouched ground, but without any modern exploration.
That's correct. Despite the fact that a lot of this mineralization is outcropping on the surface. Mm-hmm. This slide will this type of mineralization is Macucota, and his extension is actually to the northwest, so it has been classified as a deposit. And these deposits are very well known in the world. We have a lot of examples of successful mines that have been developed on this type of deposit. So this hydroxylative deposit account for 50% of the lead and zinc and 30% of the silver world resources. So the way these things are formed is when the hydrothermal fluids approach the surface through regional faults, generating large regional scale system and forming clusters of silver, lead, and zinc deposits. A couple of examples of the deposits, Senex deposits, for instance, is Mount Isa in Australia, that after 100 years of production, it still has 500 million tons of resources. Also, Red Dog in Alaska, started in the 70s, and is the largest silver producer in the United States. And the Sullivan mine in Canada successfully extracted 30 billion pounds of lead and zinc and 285 million ounces of silver after 92 years of operation. So we just with Sunawayo, we have enough prospective ground to find deposit of this size.
If we talk about that, let's say, massive amount of mineralization and, of course, of mineral content, would you develop this by yourself, meaning by your company, or could you also imagine to partner with a larger company? Because I imagine this needs a lot of drilling still and a lot of capital.
Well, that's a good question. Once we have the resources, our possibilities obviously will diversify. It could be through a joint venture, it could be with a major company. So as long as we were able to at least get to the critical amount of resources, and going beyond that point, it will depend on what is the best
value.
Yeah, for our shareholders.
Yeah.
So so as I was saying, so both areas, Sunawayo and Malkucota, together accounts for 100 square kilometers. So it's a very large system, and the 350 million ounces of silver delineated in Malkucota already could be one deposit within a clusters of deposits. So Sunawayo and Malkucota, again, as I said before, they are inseparable because they are part of the same trend. And they are very, very close, just about a couple hundred meters apart. And the lithological trends run for 8 kilometers from Malkucota into Sunawayo, with 48 samples that we took very recently. And although the assays is pending, we saw a lot of mineralization in there. It will be probably the first telltale sign of the presence of a cluster of deposits. Sunawayo Malkucota district is in play with $25 silver price and the economic opening of Bolivia. So those factors make the project very, very relevant for the market. So that's our view on this Sunawayo and Malkucota projects. Now I'm going to move to the Pulacayo project, where I actually worked 10 years ago. I developed the core resources when I was working for another company there. And this project actually comprises 30 square kilometers of very prospective ground. As I was saying, I drilled 90,000 meters there in a decade ago. And the total project accounts for 60 million ounces of silver, according to the 43-101 standards. 36.7 million ounces come from the Pulacayo Dome complex in the south part of the property, with grades over 400 grams per ton of silver. And then we have another dome, which is the Paca Dome in the north, which accounts for 21 million ounces at 256 grams per ton of silver. So this is again a very large hydrothermal intermediate sulfidation system with several prospective targets that remain to be drilled, and that's also part of the plan for the company in the next coming month. So just to give you an idea about the size of the Pulacayo, it's In plan view, it's the size of the Manhattan, and it's so it's stretched for 3 kilometers, and it's about 1,000 meters depth, same as the Burj Khalifa, world's tallest building.
That's a very good imagination example. I like that. That's fantastic.
That's from our chairman, John Lee.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have an image of the alteration zone in Pulacayo. As I said, so 36.7 million ounces of silver plus lead and zinc resources. And all this was defined by relatively shallow drilling with a high-grade intercept at 3,607 grams per ton over 4.8 meters, as you can see in the table there. The Tahoe vein system, which is the part of the epithermal system, start from surface, and which could be eventually amenable to open pit mining. That's another thing we are considering, looking at the part of the deposit for, a potential open pit.
Mm-hmm. Question, Joaquin, how does a possible infrastructure look like? Because it looks to me a little bit like, let's say, not maybe desert, but dry land, and it looks a bit hilly, like mountain-wise. Can you drive by car there, or how do you have access, and what's about water and power?
Well, it's actually a desert area, and this is the Andes, so elevation is over 4,000 meters.
Mm-hmm.
In 3,600 to 4,000 meters, but the infrastructure is excellent. There is actually a paved road that goes from Uyuni to Potosi, which just basically go through the little town near the project. There is a water reservoir not far from the project, which provide enough water for the project and also for the community. We do have power lines very close to the project, and there is a rail that goes from Potosi, going very close to the project, into Chile to the Antofagasta port.
Mm-hmm. So, wow, fantastic.
There is no it's hard to believe, but it's actually infrastructure is pretty good. You can go there by plane. You can from La Paz. You can fly to Uyuni. And you can be in the project in less than 2 hours from La Paz.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So this is the other dome that I mentioned before, the Paca Dome, which has 21 million ounces of silver, and was defined by 18,000 meters of shallow drilling, also with very interesting high grades of, as you can see also in that table, over a kilo of silver over 12 meters. 90% of the silver resources is within 100 meters from surface, which make it, again, very amenable to open pit mining. And this is something they're also currently considering.
Mm-hmm.
The next slide is just a schematic long section of the entire Pulacayo district. Shows the Pulacayo Tahoe vein system at the left, where the historical production took place. And in the right side, 7 kilometers north, is the Paca deposit, the Paca Dome. So the large heat system generated and resulted in several dome-like structures visible on surface, with hundreds of samples showing silver grades. Some examples are in those tables there. So those targets are never being drilled. So that's again another opportunity to increase the carbon resources in the property. There is a tunnel that actually runs perpendicular to the Pulacayo Dome complex from south to north. And samples in the tunnel we took at the beginning of the year in an area named as Sunawayo, returned values over 7 kilos of silver.
Mm-hmm.
So the next slide shows you a longitudinal section of the old stopes of the Tahoe vein system. So the little frame there at the top is the portion that has been drilled. So that represents only 30% of the system. This is a 2D depiction of the mining stopes based on compilation Hochschild mine records over 70 years of production there. We see better continuity just looking the quality or the grade of these stopes. We see better continuity and higher grades at depth and potential tonnage in and around those stopes. So because of that, we are also studying the possibility of doing some directional drilling to test areas beneath the historical workings, which could be, well, an absolute game changer for Pulacayo if we find more of the bonanza grades below those levels.
This old drill area. And do you think it can go even more to the depths, or do you think at minus 700 this is the first stop? Like, because it looks to me like that it's getting better and better to the depths.
Yeah,
because it's getting more and more red.
Exactly. And that's what we think, that it will continue the high grade, and you kind to think that it is also a plunge going also at depth, and very continue along the strike. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna test that possibility, and if the mineralization continues, we're gonna have, as I said, a big block of high grade mineralization there waiting for us. That's
good. All right.
And then next slide, I'm gonna move into the third project, which is the Triunfo. This is a polymetallic deposit, which is characterized by sulfide mineralization, which is hosted in shales. So 3 holes were drilled in the past in 2007 by a previous company, and all of them hit mineralization. For instance, they hit 94 meters of 1 gram equivalent. In other words, 0.4 grams gold, 22 grams silver, and 1% lead and zinc combined. So Triunfo priority area spans 1 kilometer strike and at least is 100 meter width, and has been drilled down to 100 meters and is still open at depth. So 1,000 meters step out drilling campaign is the one we are currently doing, and we hope to have good results by the end of the year about this project.
Great.
This is another schematic cross section of the Triunfo, showing the parallel mineralized trend, which is related to anticline and fracture and intense fracturing. The sulfide mineralization is also cropping over tens of meter width. So we also believe that an IP survey will produce, strong anomalies, creating a large system. And maybe just these initial holes, what they have done is just scratch the surface. We could be then looking what seems to be the tip of an iceberg here.
Yeah, it looks like a really large system. Absolutely. Yeah. Interesting. This is now about Silver Elephant as a company. So the market assigned us $500 million. Well, science in general, that's what we have noted. 500 compared with other peers. Looks like $500 million represent a couple 100 million ounces of resources for a mature silver project. We, in this case, based on our resources, we can say we are fairly evaluated today based on the 57 million ounces we have in Pulacayo. But if we consider the potential to reach 300 million ounces in the next 18 months or so, I think we are not valued correctly. I mean, we are undervalued. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if you really find that that there is no doubt there will be a very hefty revaluation, that's for sure.
Well, just this slide just to introduce our technical team.
Mm-hmm.
So the company is managed by veteran mine explorers, formerly with Hecla, Placezon, Barrick, and Falcon Bridge. This is the team. And then our goal, just to end this presentation, our goal is to prove up to 300 million ounces of silver in 2020 2022 by drilling the 3 projects, Pulacayo, Sunawayo, and Triunfo, and make possibly further acquisition, such as Macocota, which is inseparable of Sunawayo, and we hope that it's going to be resolved pretty soon. We have the makings of a great company, great assets, expert geologists, and shareholders. So that's all, and thank you very much for your attention. So if you have any question.
Yes, I definitely have fun. Thank you very much, Joaquin. That was great. Really interesting company. Also for me, the first time I heard about you. My most important question is, of course, as you are still in the exploration phase, how much money is in the bank? Meaning, are you funded for 2020 and 2021?
Yes, we are fully funded. We have enough money in the bank to complete the exploration and drilling program we are running in Triunfo and probably also in Sunawayo until for the rest of the year.
Okay, great. And also, next news flow, when can we expect this year something really ongoing? As you said, you are drilling already?
Yes, we probably going to be releasing drill results from the Triunfo and Sunawayo definitely before the end of the year. Yeah.
Okay, super. Great. Joaquin, thank you very much. That was a great presentation, really interesting company. I have to do some more homework, definitely for sure. And yeah, I wish you all the best, and we look forward to more results from you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Silver Elephant and Joaquin Merino, the Vice President of South American Operations in Bolivia. And you heard it, very interesting company. Of course, Bolivia is maybe not a super easy place to work, but it looks like that the company is on a very good path here. And yeah, the drills are turning, and if they can prove up to 300 million ounces of silver, then it's getting really interesting. And we could also imagine that this company will get a very nice re-rating here. So I would suggest you check out the company. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland, and all the best to Sevilla.